Hi, welcome to the latest Democracy 4 developer blog. I can't say it without laughing, I don't know why. Anyway, I'm the programmer and designer on the game, Cliff, talking about the stuff that's happened in the last 2 weeks. It's still in early access at the moment. And this is Democracy 4, and if you're Polish, you might be going, oh my god, it's in Polish, hopefully. And you're not saying, oh my god, it's very confusing, badly done Polish. No, it should be properly done. So yeah, the game now has Polish language support. Ignore this up here, we don't translate that because I change it all the time. So hopefully this, you know, makes sense if you speak Polish. Quite a few people in Poland play strategy games. My game's always done really well in Poland. It's one of those countries I've never been to, interestingly. But what am I doing? Well, I'm looking for the options. So yeah, we're in Polish now, hopefully, and yes, everything is done. I think we might have one country not done. Yeah, I'll talk about why and how that has happened later. So if I go into options, Polish is a new thing, woohoo! And so is Russian. Russian is new as well. I'm going to talk about some of like the implications of that. So if we switch to Russian, look at that, my game loads fast, even with like video streaming stuff. This is hopefully Russian. It better be. Full desktop must come from somewhere that's not translatable. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully this is Russian. And what I'm going to do, I'm gonna just to play games, I'm going to play the United States in Russian, and hopefully everything will load okay. It's funny, we even translate the sarcastic loading tips, translate everything. So hopefully the whole game is in Russian, and that's lovely, and this is all in Russian, and aren't we all excited about that? I'm very excited. It takes a long time, and it's an unusually expensive language to translate into. Anyway, I'd just like to talk about why some games don't get translated, why they don't get translated into certain languages. I'm going to give you a crash course on this. Okay, so we have what are kind of called the Latin languages, you know, English, French, German, stuff like that, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, whatever. They use a certain character set called ASCII. So basically, when people invented computers, they thought we need a byte to represent each character, you know, because it's all binary at the end of the day. And thought, yeah, well, 256 is fine. I mean, there's only 26 letters in the alphabet, up and down. That would be fine. And then, of course, like people say, well, you need accents in French, you need like umlauts and all these other things. But it's fine. It all fits. It all fits perfectly in this character set that is quite small, and all was good in the world. And then suddenly loads of countries with completely different alphabets also get involved in the world of IT and go, well, the Chinese character set just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Now, there used to be a thing called code pages where you throw out all of the kind of English characters and replace them with others. And so you can do that to a certain extent, right up to the point at which there's more than 256 characters in your alphabet. And then it all goes completely wrong. And then you cannot represent it in the same way. You can't do text in the same way. So basically, at very low level in games, when you're storing a string of characters like this, like normally each character is basically one byte. But with big character sets it can't be, so you have something called multi-byte character sets and Unicode. And Unicode allows you to have a ridiculous number of characters. Now, if your game is programmed in Unicode, then you can support any characters, Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, anything, absolutely anything, even emojis are in Unicode. So like Twitter works in Unicode, which is where you can add loads of stuff like that. Anyway, that's kind of boring. The big problem comes, and this happened to Democracy 3. The big problem comes when you code a game in ASCII, which is the old way, and then you want to convert it to Unicode. Oh my god, you would not believe the hassle. But anyway, we did that, which is why you can play Democracy 3 in Chinese. And this is Unicode by default. Democracy 4 is completely redone to be Unicode by default. So we can have Russian, we can have Polish, you know, we could have like Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, absolutely everything. And you would think that if you used like a newer engine like Unity or something like that, that they would do all this by default and that would be fine, and that's the only problem. When you make a video game, you just have to be able to support all these characters. No, that is the beginning of it. Secondly, there's a whole world of pain when you allow people to type characters in. Like if you look at Korean, it's very interesting how that's kind of typed in. That's a whole world of pain that actually we haven't dealt with properly yet. The other thing is the length of languages from a user interface point of view, and the other thing is the way you render text. Okay, so the length of languages can be a nightmare. Let me show you this. Ow! This should word wrap, but it probably didn't. I thought I had word wrap this actually. Loads of places where you would normally just have a small bit of text suddenly don't fit because the language is longer. You either word wrap or you have to do a ... thing. And it's interesting because like even word wrapping, you think, oh well, word wrapping simple, like you know, you crop back until the start of the word. Chinese doesn't have words, so like it's kind of, and some languages go like backwards. Or up and down. Like it's amazing. And look at this. Look, that doesn't fit. I'm doing this thing that game developers never do, where I'm giving you a tour of my game and all the stuff that's not very good about it. It works perfectly in normal languages, and we have support for stuff like this. So like I've detected that that's too long, and we automatically put it in a text box, and you can scroll it with a mouse over it, and I'm very happy with that. But really, we've got some white space here and here, and we could lose one of these strips, put that in the scroll bar so that the description text isn't in the scroll bar. Should we do that? And also, because this screen resolution is quite big, I could just stretch this up a bit. You might think that's easy. It's actually a real complicated nightmare from a UI layout point of view. Now, a lot of people don't bother to do it, and I think it is worth doing, because my aim is for someone, my ultimate aim is for someone who is Russian or Polish or any language we support to come and play this game and not know that British people made it. Anyway, it's very difficult. I'm going to come back to nuclear weapons in a minute to point out why that's in English. Anyway, one of the other problems is in the old days when I was a programmer, right at the start of my career, with text, what you'd do is you'd have in memory like an image that would be the alphabet, and you'd render text to it, because rendering text from fonts is really slow. So what you'd probably do is you'd do it in Photoshop or something, right? You'd have the alphabet in memory, and then when you wanted to like type some characters like this, you go render that, render that, render that, render. You'd batch them. But anyway, so you do this. And that's fine. The problem is some languages are massive and you just run out of memory. Like it's a stupid amount of texture memory to do it. So we do all this complicated stuff where we actually render from a font properly using kerning and all this kind of stuff, which is why it looks very crisp. It's exactly the right size, there's no scaling, and stuff flows quite well, and we do all this clever stuff, and we do it once and we cache it. So all of the text that is currently on the screen is in a texture somewhere, and it gets reused, so we're not using the font every single time. It is a real pain. Jeff did it and it took forever, and it is really hard to get right when you may have a language that has an incredible number of characters, a lot of text on screen like this, they're overlapping in boxes, which means you have to render them in a particular order, and you may be running it on a really low powered PC with very little video memory in comparison with like the big gaming cards that have like gigabytes. It's a real pain. So when you come across like a little indie game that's done by one person and it's their first indie game, and you say, why isn't it in, why is it not in Russian? Why is it not in Chinese? Have some sympathy, because if if they don't know about these issues at the start, it's a nightmare. And people who work with Unity tell me that like Unity does handle it, but not very well. So it's still a problem. It's a lot of effort. Anyway, so I don't want to ramble on about this too much. Nuclear weapons is in English. This isn't some sort of political statement. It's because while we were getting translated into Russian and Polish, we added a new policy, nuclear weapons. So all of the text that is in the game, if you play in Russian and Polish or any other language that you think, why is this in English? It's because it's new and it's all been handed over to the translation company and they will do it. So it's all coming. There is the occasional thing. So like if you go here, you might find the odd new policy somewhere. That's a mod. That's a sample mod. That's rural internet subsidies, which doesn't. The mod doesn't have a translation. This is something I fixed recently. Not only when you do a mod can you add the translations for every single language if you want, and they will work. I didn't do it for this because we didn't have Russian. Not only can you do that, you can add an entire language as a mod now. That was buggy. There you go, competition laws new. But it'll get translated. Russian's so long. It's so long. It's a beautiful looking language, but it's very long. Anyway, let me swap back to a language that my puny brain knows and go back in. My games start fast, don't they? All that optimization is not in vain. I hope. Right, so what else has happened? So we've done loads and loads of balancing. I won't go through everything we've done because there's so much of it. One of the things that I forgot about, and when I was young, I was very anti-nuclear weapons. I'm kind of like, I don't think Britain can get rid of them now. But I would move the slider down here. I'd have hardly anything. I'd have, yeah, we've got one bomb. You know, do you feel lucky kind of thing. I don't think we need constant submarine launched nukes. Anyway, whatever. The point is, because I was very anti them when I was younger, I really should know that environmentalists don't like nuclear weapons. Generally they don't, and generally they really don't. That wasn't in there. Anyway, it's in there now. There's a huge long list of things that people have said on my forums and on the Steam forums, but mostly on my forums at positech.co.uk. This should affect this. That should affect that. This affects this, but it shouldn't. And there's so many connections in the game. There's like thousands and thousands that having like extra critical eyes on them in early access is really appreciated. And like, also you need to point out when I don't know something. So for example, you know, I'm not a parent, so like, you know, I've guessed what upsets parents. Yeah, I've read some studies and stuff as well, but like, you know, I need people's feedback on that, because the dev team at the moment is just me. So like, input is really appreciated, and also you get a different cultural point of view. What might upset parents in Russia is different to what might upset parents in France, and it's interesting to know that kind of thing. There were some other things that got added that I thought, oh my god, this really is my area. Okay, so oil demand, which is I found it quick. That's good, isn't it? I can't show you this because it's hidden, because it is a situation, but oil demand will affect power blackouts, which is an event that doesn't trigger that much, but it triggers a bit more now. So basically, if oil demand keeps going up, and over time, this will happen as global populations go up and everything, there is a chance of a power blackout event. It is less likely if you have investments in like clean energy subsidies, renewable energy, stuff like that. And that mechanic is in there now, that oil demand makes blackouts more likely, renewable energy makes it less likely. I'd love to model that whole thing. I'd love to have a little blue bubble for grid instability, but no one cares. Anyway. There was other stuff like that. One that I'm quite proud of, someone mentioned it and I thought, I'm going to look at the stats, because I'm straight and I have no idea what percentage of people are gay. So like gay marriage, which is a thing, it should be here. Yeah, here we go. So gay marriage as various effects in the game. But we also have a I don't think I've got enough points to demonstrate it, but we have like a Maori Tax Allowance, which I don't think we have in the UK anymore. I think it was scrapped. But we used to have this thing that basically you have a tax break for being married, which was a thing that Conservatives liked to encourage people to be married for perfectly good reasons, money. Anyway, someone pointed out, and it was a damn good point. Can you say? You can say that, yeah. It was an extremely good point that if you have gay marriage, more people will be married because gay couples who previously would not be allowed to marry do marry, and therefore they should get the Maori Tax Allowance, which obviously they would. So actually, I looked it up, it's like 7% in the UK, I went with that. So there is a 7% boost to the cost of Maori Tax Allowances if you have gay marriage, scaled by the extent, because like it's a slider. So we have to assume that it's not just entirely binary. So that might be, you know, yeah, gay marriage, but the bureaucracy is hellish. And this might be, yeah, it's exactly the same as heterosexual marriage in all like legal and financial terms. And somewhere in the middle is some kind of like, you know, nonsense that complicates matters. Anyway, you know, that's in. There's more tweaking coming. Obviously, we're always balancing the game and trying to improve it and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to do the next video in maybe 3 weeks, because the trouble is, if I tell you what I've been working on in the next 2 weeks, it'll be like 200 tiny little things. You know, the effect of maternity leave on population has dropped by 1.2% after my statistical analysis. Like, who cares? I mean, it will just make the game better. But what we will be working on is Italy. I think when Italy's in, we'll do another video and go, Italy, and this is what it's like. I have a friend who lives in Italy who talks constantly about the tax evasion and corruption. But I need stats. I need to verify that that kind of impression of Italy is true. Anyway, so that's a bit of a rant about Unicode. Sorry for going on about that, but it's kind of interesting, I think. It's people in the West never think about the technical aspects of other people's languages. I read somewhere that Arabic has no vowels, and I thought, is that true? That can't be right, but then I like hear it in my head. I find languages fascinating. I can't speak any except a bit of Klingon. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll probably do a video in about 3 weeks. This is Democracy 4. It's currently on sale actually on the Epic Store, if you want to get it at a discount. So there you go. Please like and subscribe, blah blah blah. Thank you for watching, and I will see you when I do another video, probably 3 weeks time. Thank you, goodbye.